I believe that one of the most destructive lies that came out of this entire BLM scam was that black people are being hunted down by white police officers disproportionately. Right? I'm not going to sit here and say it's never happened before, but that black people being targeted. I mean, it got to a place where one of my buddies, one of my Richmond buddies from back in the day, from my JC, my junior college days, he believed before he came to America that, maybe it was best for him not to move to the States because, these police officers were hunting black men down. He was going to be a target because he was black. And obviously he moved here and found out that it was quite the opposite. He also found out that money is not literally just everywhere on the ground. Like, his family still believes that he lives in the United States where money is not just growing on trees, but is damn near like leaves, right? You got to rake money out of the way just to get to your job every morning. So I'm glad he debunked these two things. But the video I'm going to get into right now is a video I have not gone through personally, but I was recommended this video by one of my peoples out there. So shout out to you, my peoples, all of y'all, my peoples. Shout out to every single one of y'all. I appreciate you. We've been growing over here, and we will continue to do so because truth cannot be silenced. You may hate it, it may trigger you, but we're going to get into it. So anyway, I was recommended this video of a man who has done the research as far as whether or not this is actually true. Are black people subject to police brutality? Is that the truth? If we're in the 1930s, maybe, it probably would be quite obvious that, yes, there's disproportionately more of this going on. The Democrats have not stopped being the Democrats. They've just kind of shape-shifted in essence. So I digress. Let us get into this video here. Make sure to get yourself some H to the Izzo. Stay hydrated. It will fix half the problems in your life. All right.
I collected a lot of data. We collected millions of observations on everyday use of force that wasn't lethal. We collected thousands of observations on lethal force. And it was in this moment in 2016 that I realized people lose their minds when they don't like the result. So what my paper showed, you'll see tomorrow, like some of you, was that, yes, we saw some bias in the low-level uses of force, every day pushing up against cars and things like that. People tend to like that result. But we didn't find any racial bias in police shootings. Now, that was really surprising to me because I expected to see it. The little-known fact is I had 8 full-time RAs that it took to do this over nearly a year. When I found this surprising result, I hired 8 fresh ones and redid it to make sure. They came up with the same exact answer, and I thought it was robust. And then I went to go give it, and my God, all hell broke loose. It was a 104-page, dense, academic economics paper with a 150-page appendix, okay? It was posted for 4 minutes. When I got my first email, this is full of shit.
They don't want the truth. They want the narrative. And whatever fits that narrative is a go. And if it doesn't, it's a no. Now, again, I have not watched this. I'm watching this in real time with y'all. But this is striking for me because I have not done a year's worth of research. I have done basic research, a couple of days worth of research, or at least maybe a couple of weeks if you're to calculate all the time since around 2018 when I started having my deep doubts about this whole entire thing. And then 2020, 2021, when, these martyrs were being created and the news cycles were basically 24/7 of black men and black women being gunned down in the streets by these racist police officers. When I had my doubts, I did the research that I could, and it showed the exact same thing. You had to dig it a little deeper because, again, the narrative was what was being pushed out there. There was a lot of narratives, including the one of the Japsky Wapsky, the Fauci Ouchie, but amongst them was this right here. And I can see the passion. I can see that he's pissed off, which righteous indignation, rightfully so. I'm pissed off. I'm going to continue to talk about this to nauseum until it is common knowledge. And even the bias, this is why I actually really stopped it, because I wanted to address the bias of, maybe police pushing black folk up against a car, whatever, a little more force. You want to know why that's likely so? This is an assumption. If you see the way in which black children or black men, black women are being raised to deal with the police more times than not, it is aggressively. It is not with respect. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. There's this trope that white people just get away with being all kinds of crazy towards those police officers. It's not the case. You will be dealt with as well. And I'm not saying that extra excessive force is necessary. And I'm not saying the racists don't exist in police forces, etc. But what I'm saying is it's disingenuous to not put the full picture there. It's like the lie that is told by the feminist propagandists that there's a wage inequality gap without putting into consideration, hours worked, types of jobs that are being worked in, positions within they're not putting any of that information because it doesn't serve the narrative. And that's their God. Their God is not the science. Their God is the narrative that pushes forward the idea, the Marxist idea, not just neo-Marxist. This is original Marxism. This is original communism. There is the oppressed and the oppressor. They must have that narrative. And the white man must be the oppressor in order for the rest to be the oppressed. It just has to be that way. That is communism.
Doesn't make any sense. And I wrote back, how'd you read it that fast?
Wow.
That's amazing. You are a genius. And I had colleagues take me to the side and say, don't publish this. You'll ruin your career. I said, what are you talking about? I said, what's wrong with it? Do you believe the first part? Yes. Do you believe the second part? Well, the issue is they just don't fit together. We like the first one, but you should publish the second one another time. I said, let me ask this. If the second part...
Cowardice. There's nothing more despicable than a coward. If you don't know, you don't know. If you're evil, but you're still willing to push your evil, at the very least, I can say, okay, you know what? You're not a coward. You're willing to go balls to the wall with whatever your ideology is. But when you know the truth and you still no.
About the police shootings, this is a literal conversation. I said to them, if the second part showed bias, do you think I should publish it then? And they say, yeah, then it would make sense. And I said, I guarantee you I'll publish it. We'll see what happens. So it was, I lived under police protection for about 30 or 40 days. I had
the irony of that, the man needed police protection for releasing a statement speaking on police brutality. Oh, but he's a black man, though. Those police are going to take his life because they're just hunting us down disproportionately, huh?
7-day-old daughter at the time. I remember going and shopping for it because, when you have a newborn, you think you have enough diapers. You don't. So I was going to the grocery store to get diapers with an armed guard. It was crazy. It was really, truly crazy.
Wow. You're doing God's work. You've served your mission, your purpose, and thank you to this man. Thank you to this man. Wow. This should piss you off because you're being lied to. And I'm talking not just to white folks who are being lied on, but I'm talking to you, black folks, who are being lied to. The amount of children that are hearing this message of, watch out for the police are racist, they're out to get you, all this sort of nonsense. Then they convince you to defund the police. They convince you that the police need to be, abolished in your neighborhoods. And now your neighborhood becomes less and less safe. Now you are living in the most dangerous neighborhoods in the country, in the world. The most unpoliced. And then that becomes another, well, we're the most policed, but we also have the least police protection because you're being raised with the mentality of these are your enemies. Who's going to help you when somebody sprays up your house? Who? It's not going to be BLM. It's not going to be the activists. They don't give a damn. Where was BLM? The very same weekend, I believe it was almost in sync, there was a 2-weekend spree where they said that more kids were unalive during that time than in the war zone in Afghanistan in a single weekend or 2 weekends or whatever it was. Yet the news was fixated on this one man whose life was taken by the racist police establishment. But all them black kids don't matter, right? BLM was protesting there, but they weren't to be found in Chicago. So those mothers wept by themselves. They grieved by themselves. There was no BLM comforters. There was no GoFundMe. There was no money put together for them because nobody gave a damn. That's the thing for me. If you at least just didn't pretend that you cared, then I'll be cool with the whole thing. You know, just don't pretend you give a damn. Just don't pretend. There are situations I got to be honest, I don't care. It's not in my peripheral. It's not that I don't have a heart, but I really don't care that much. I'm not about to do the fake outrage thing. But if it's brought to my awareness and my consciousness, then I am, my care, my empathy, or my compassion is extended. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. Not anymore. We've been doing that for too long. That's how they've gotten away with all of this in the first place. Cowards. You are a supposed scientist, a professor, but the science but the stats just don't. It's like these cowards, as far as food studies, etc. The reason why people continue to eat carbohydrates and sugars and things of that nature and continue to die of these otherwise avoidable diseases and being lied to about meat and animal proteins. I was a vegan for 4 years, a damn fool. Almost killed myself off of a diet. Hey, guess what? Those animal proteins that you're being told are so evil, are so bad for you, are actually optimal. They're prime for you. But the science, they're not going to continue to push those. They're not going to push those studies. No, because Big Pharma can't profit off of that. They got to sell you the cereal. They got to sell you the candy. They got to sell you the bread and the pastas. They got to sell you the bullshit. Enough is enough, folks. When you know the truth, you got to tell it. That's why I do what I do. I'm not special. I'm not somebody I'm just somebody who's willing to tell the damn truth. I just stopped being a coward. That was the only difference. I just stopped being a coward. I said, I'm done. I'm cool off whatever the conditions, circumstance. If I'm going to need armed security to go to the damn grocery store, then so be it. I know God is protecting me. I know my life is watched because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So please do what you're supposed to be doing. Tell the damn truth. All of us have a part in all of this. You're not watching here by accident. This ain't just some sideline entertainment. We are on a mission right now. To not just get our country back, but to get our world back. To get common decency and humanity back. It has become so okay to be racist towards a specific group of people, white people. And I'll say even Jewish folks. The Jewish community right now is under full-blown attack, and it is a propaganda, it is a societal, etc. And there are people not going to like me saying that. They're going to say I'm Assad, I'm paid for, etc., etc. A group of 15 million people on this planet and are being treated as if they were 15 billion. White folks in the Western world who built this thing up are being called the problem. The ones who are actually still keeping it up disproportionately so are being called the problem. Make it make sense. I would not have stood up for apartheid. I don't stand up for the anti-black racism. But guess what? That's not the biggest problem we have right now. It's not. It's not. That's not the biggest issue of the time. That's not the most controversial of the time. Nothing pisses me off like cowardice and hypocrisy. So yeah, I'm going to continue to share this truth. Y'all continue to tune into this truth and to share this truth and to spread this truth and to continue to dig for yourself. Don't just listen to me for anything. Do your own research. Think for yourself. That's the best thing you can do for me. You got love for me? I love you too. Now do your own damn research. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Now, if you'd like to stay around, make sure to click that little subscribe button down there, or you can show some love by going to the description below and clicking on the button titled Buy Me a Coffee. Leave a little something there, or click on the Cash App. Leave a little something here. Till the next time, peace.
I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 3-6-5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising.